This. So the. Bless you. Good evening and welcome to tonight's Monroe City Council meeting. This is a regular business meeting for Tuesday, August 9th, 2022. The time right now is 7 p.m. Ms. Wyckoff, will you please call the roll? Oh, one moment. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. Council members present and establishing a quorum are council members Fulcher, Kinney, Davis, and Scarborough.
Thank you. And we did hear at an earlier meeting that one of the council members would not be present here this evening. I believe that was Councilmember Fisher. And that we heard over the weekend that Councilmember Hanford would not be here. And last night, the Councilmember Gamble would not be here. So unless there's objection, we'll consider their absences as excused. Seeing no objection, we'll go ahead and move on to the next item on the agenda. This is the Pledge of Allegiance. Councilmember Davis, would it be acceptable to you if Sergeant Robinson did the Pledge of Allegiance this evening since he's retiring? Is Sergeant Robinson available to? Nope. Yes. Sergeant Robinson, can you give the pledge? Please, the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The first item that we have on the agenda this evening is item number 4 under announcements and presentations. This is a recognition of service and retirement for Sergeant Spencer Robinson. And I will turn the floor over to turn the floor over to Chief Jolly. Thank you. Yes, go ahead.
Mayor, Council, thank you very much for allowing us to come here tonight and do the honors and ceremony to one of our loved members of our police department. It's very much appreciated. Thank you to the men and women of the Monroe Police Department who showed up and provided the honor cordon, welcoming him in to his last hurrah as a member of the Monroe Police Department. Tonight, I have the distinct privilege of honoring and recognizing Sergeant Spencer Robinson for his 21 years of law enforcement service, 17 of which was proudly served here in the city of Monroe. He previously had served honorably with the Washington State Patrol before coming to us. Sergeant Robinson was hired by the Monroe Police Department on August 18th, 2005. Sergeant Robinson has served in many capacities in his law enforcement career to include police officer, detective, DRE, CERT member, SWAT member, honor guard, and sergeant, and also the sergeant of the honor guard. Our annual Shop with a Cop event was an event that Sergeant Robinson initiated and helped plan for many, many years. And we're going to miss his contributions to that excellent program that provides for so many children in need and honors our department. He also originated and ran the first ever youth academy for the Monroe Police Department. Sergeant Robinson's passion and dedication to the department and the community will leave a lasting impression. It should also be noted he spent 20+ years and has recently retired from the United States Army, having served honorably in that position. He is going to be moving to Texas with his beautiful bride Nellie and his 3 sons. And we wish him well in his endeavors. He's somewhat of a hobby artist. And as he continues his experience in drawing, we hope he's able to spend time in his retirement fulfilling that and becoming better at his passion. I would tell a few stories about Spencer, but I think those will wait until the 19th, I believe. So if you'll come right up here, Spencer. Deputy Chief, we would like to present him with a small token of our appreciation for his years served.
Sergeant Robinson, it's a pleasure to present this to you. It says retired August 18th, 2022. Still got a few more days. In recognition of your 21 years of law enforcement service, 17 years of which you proudly served the city of Monroe. Your passion and dedication to the department and the community will leave a lasting impression. Congratulations and thank you. Thanks, sir.
We'd also like to make it official and give you a retired badge for your years of service honorably here with our department. Carry that with pride and we'll definitely miss you. Thank you, sir. We can go ahead and say a few words.
I just want to say good evening to my sons and my wife that are watching by Zoom at Texas. Colt, Barrett, Weston, Nellie, I love you guys. Thank you for your support. Oh, man. So I've told the story to a few people, but the biggest thing I can say is I've wanted to be a police officer since I was 10. And every 10-year-old looks forward to starting the job, but there's no 10-year-old that looks forward to retirement. And so there's a little 10-year-old boy in me today that's happy that I'm getting to go be with my family, but a little bit sad that I'm leaving the job I love. And this is a great agency and great people. Thank you to the chief and deputy chief for their leadership. This last few years, it has made what can arguably be one of the most turbulent times in my career in law enforcement feel like a smooth ride. And so thank you to them. Thank you for my crew, who are some of the absolute most consummate professionals you'll ever meet in this job. And I'm just honored to have worked with them. They're good people. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
And Sergeant, I do have, Chief, did you have anything further? I have. Okay. Thank you very much. On behalf of the great community for your years of service.
Thank you.
Mayor's Coin.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Good luck in your future endeavors. And again, thank you so much for your service and everything you've done for our community.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, everybody. We're going to go on to the next item on the agenda. That is public comments. Item number 5. This is time set aside for members of the public to speak to the city council on any issue related to the city of Monroe, except any quasi judicial matter that is subject to a public hearing. If you'd like to speak, please go ahead and let us know now. If you are here in the audience, just go ahead and raise your hand. Okay, seeing nobody right now. If you are online and would like to speak to the council, please go ahead and raise your virtual hand. That would be a *9 if you're on the phone, or just selecting the raise hand function in your Zoom app. All right, not seeing any hands going up. We'll go ahead and move on to the next item on the agenda. That next item on the agenda would be item number 6, final action. This is approval of resolution number 2022-015, accepting notice of intention to commence annexation, North 41 annexation, formerly Donato, with Kate Turtellow. Go ahead and bring Kate forward. Good evening, Kate. You are now in the panel. Good evening, Kate. Kate? Oh, her video's coming on. There she is.
Apologies.
It's okay. Good evening. You're up.
Okay, so this evening we are requesting that the council approve resolution 2022-015, accepting the notice of intent to commence annexation to the city of Monroe per the state requirements for the De Donato, which is currently called North 41. You have seen this twice now. The first time was the initial meeting of with the petitioners, which was continued to your July 14th meeting, at which time you directed staff to prepare this resolution. This area, if you could go to the next slide, please. Next slide.
We're working on it.
Thank you. Perfect. Thank you. So this area is adjacent to the Woodlands annexation, which was just approved in January of this year. It is within the Northwest urban growth area for the city of Monroe. It has already been pre-annexed back in 2019. The application consists of 25 parcels encompassing just over 41 acres. And so with the approval this evening, you will be directing the circulation for the 60% petition, after which time we do a lot more research, come back with more information, continue the process. Your packet this evening includes the resolution that we're asking you to approve, the original application, the 10% of petition or signatures of petition. It also includes the ordinance that adopted the pre-designation for residential 7 units per acre. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
All right. Thank you very much. Are there any questions from council? All right. I don't see any questions. Oh, Councilmember Davis, go ahead.
No question, but I'll move to approve resolution number 2022-015, accepting the notice of intent to commence annexation to the city pursuant to RCW 35A.14.120, requiring assumption of indebtedness, authorizing of 60% petition circulation, and establishing an effective date.
Second, Fulcher.
I have a motion from Councilmember Davis, a second from Councilmember Fulcher for the requested action in final action number 6.1. Any discussion on the motion? There being none, we'll move to vote. All in favor? All opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 4-0. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Kate.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda then we are moving to is 7.0. This is consent agenda. Council members. Councilmember Kenny.
I move to approve the consent agenda as provided in the packet.
I have a motion from Councilmember Kenny, a second from Councilmember Scarborough to approve the consent agenda as provided in the packet. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, we'll move to vote. All in favor? All opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 4-0. Thank you. Next item on the agenda, new business item number 8, starting off with 8.1, confirm appointments to Salary Commission, and this will be Tyler Christian. So we'll go ahead and bring Tyler forward. Oh, Tyler's already in the audience, or panel, I should say. Tyler, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, council. I apologize that I cannot be with you in person this evening. The two motions in front of you are to confirm 2 vacant seats to the Salary Commission. As a reminder, the Salary Commission currently holds 5 positions. Only 2 of those are filled, so that commission is unable to hold a meeting due to lack of quorum. Mr. Mayor and I met with Mr. Carrier on July 26th, as well as Ms. Bumpus on July 29th. And Mr. Mayor and I both had wonderful conversations. And so I believe that they are with you in person today from what I saw on the camera, but I will not confirm that for sure. But I will turn that back over to Mr. Mayor if he has any questions, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Tyler. I'm going to go ahead and invite the first appointee forward, and that is Steve Carrier. If you come forward, I'm going to ask that each of the appointees just introduce themselves, perhaps indicate what part of town you live in, and why you're interested in serving on the Salary Commission. Go ahead.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Steve Carrier is my name. We live on Madison Street, right behind the post office, or right in front of it. A busy place. It's being torn up this week. That is the street Madison is. Did you want a little background?
Just express your interest in serving on Salary Commission.
Well, I've always been involved in some way. As you get older, your involvement kind of gets a little bit smaller, but I cannot see not being involved in some kind of a civic duty here. I've been in the past involved with a lot of municipal offices, like in Duval with the Chamber of Commerce, and for a very short time on the Duval Chamber as president, and then the Duval City Council, which was kind of a joke, but not the council joke, my involvement was. So we moved to Monroe, and we like it here, and we moved here on purpose. We picked out Monroe, and we sold a big piece of property and got a little postage stamp over here, and I would just like to be a part of this town, so this is it.
All right.
Mhm.
Thank you, Mr. Carrier.
Well, thank you.
We're going to go ahead and invite Ms. Bumpus forward now. Jennifer? And Steve, you can, actually, just a second, Jennifer, does anybody have any questions for Mr. Carrier? All right, thank you. You can go ahead and sit down.
Mhm.
Jennifer, come on forward. I'm sorry, Tammy, did you have a question?
I just wanted to express my appreciation for you stepping forward to serve on this commission that is unable to function without you. So thank you so much to both of you.
Oh, you're very welcome.
And I appreciate you being here tonight.
Thank you. Go ahead, Jennifer.
Hello. You know, am I good? Okay.
Yes.
Jennifer Bumpus, and I live over by Lake Ty area. And I currently hold an elected position and just looking to continue to learn and continue to make my footprint, I think, here in the town. I've been here, our family has been here for over 2 decades, and just continue, my children are here and we don't see us going anywhere. So, and I love Monroe. It sounds really corny, but it's true. Otherwise, I don't think that I would continue to run around to soccer fields and do all the things and then still make it a point to be here. So I really love being a part of something that's bigger than me. And just like you all, I would love to continue to have a positive impact. In the past couple of years, I think we saw what heavy and negative can look like. And I am grateful for people like yourselves who continue to make a positive impact and to have a positive influence on our communities. And I'd like to be a part of that.
All right. Thank you very much, Jennifer. Does anybody have any questions for Ms. Bumpus? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So I turn to council. If you have any questions for me or for Tyler, please let us know. Otherwise, the 2 requested actions are on the screen there. Councilmember Kenny, go ahead.
Motion 1, I move to confirm the mayor's appointment of Steve Carrier to the Salary Commission Position 3, a vacant seat with a term ending December 31st, 2023.
I have a motion from Councilmember Kenny, a second from Councilmember Fulcher for motion 1 on the screen. Any discussion on the motion? There being none, we'll move to vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 4-0. Thank you. Councilmember Kenny, go ahead.
Motion 2, I move to confirm the mayor's appointment of Jennifer Bumpus to the Salary Commission position 4, a vacant seat with a term ending December 31st, 2023.
I have a motion from Councilmember Kenny, a second from Councilmember Scarborough for motion 2 and the requested action in new business item 8.1. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, we'll move to vote. All in favor? All opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 4-0. Thank you very much, everybody. Congratulations, commissioners. And thank you. All right, we're going to move on to the next item on the agenda, and that item being council member reports. So we'll go ahead. Whoop, I went through and crossed off a whole bunch of things by accident. Sorry about that, Kate. We'll go ahead and bring Kate forward because, oh, I'm sorry. We're going to keep with Tyler. We did 2 actions and I crossed off too many things. So we're going to move to 8.2. This is the 2022 salary schedule amendment ordinance for first reading. Tyler, go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council, thank you. The action that you have in front of you is an action that was actually brought to council on July 26th at your last business meeting. And this was to amend an error that was in our salary schedule for the engineering manager. Council did approve that at the last business meeting, and I thank you for that. However, after further discussion with Mr. Lell, it was determined that this needed to be done through ordinance. So this will be the first reading of an ordinance to correct an error that was in the salary schedule for the fiscal budget ending in 2022. The reason that this was an error in the beginning is, or the reason that this is an error is because that salary schedule was misstated and not in line with other public works managers. So this is just a first reading for an ordinance to ensure that we are doing this in the proper way in accordance with RCW for the state. Mr. Mayor, that concludes my report. And if there are any questions, I would be happy to take them.
All right, thank you, Mr. Christian. I turn to council. Are there any questions for Tyler or is there a motion? Councilmember Davis, go ahead.
Certainly, I'll move to accept as first reading ordinance number 022/2022, an ordinance of the city of Monroe, Washington, amending the salary schedule included with the budget for fiscal year 2022 to accurately reflect the intended wage scale of engineering services manager's salary, providing for severability and establishing an effective date.
Second, Fulcher.
I have a motion from Councilmember Davis, a second from Councilmember Fulcher for the motion identified and requested action in the requested action box for new business item number 8.2. Any discussion on the motion? There being none, we'll move to vote. All in favor? All opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 4-0. Thank you, Tyler. I think
Thank you,
that's
Mr. Mayor.
Kate's next. We're now on to new business number 8.3. This is introduction to proposed amendments to chapter 2222 MMC Downtown Commercial Zoning District and associated amendments to chapter 2212 MMC definitions with Ms. Turtolo. Kate, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Thomas. So this is no action asked for this evening. This is an introduction. Back in March, we had a business owner, the business owner of Let's Play It Cafe, came to the Planning Commission and was asking for relief. His business is an entertainment type business in the promenade, or excuse me, in the historic Main. If you could go to the next slide, that will be helpful. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So his business is on Lewis Street in this area, in this corner. Yeah, on this corner right here in the, I'm sorry, it's in the brick red colored area, which is considered the promenade. It is the high, you know what? I am totally off. My apologies. So if you go up Lewis Street, Jody, if you can go up Lewis. Anyway, I'll get to the point. His business falls within the entertainment category. And in 2019, when the city adopted the Uniform Development Regulations, changes were made to the uses that were permitted in the promenade and the historic Main. Unfortunately, it eliminated all of the entertainment uses that used to be permitted. And so he made his case to the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission asked staff if we could look into it for him. We did. We brought it to the attention of the mayor and the city administrator. And so the Planning Commission took it on as a project. So included in your packet this evening is the information of what the Planning Commission has reviewed and is recommending. They concluded their work last night with their findings of fact and conclusions. And so there's really just a handful of changes. The first is a clarification within the downtown promenade neighborhood discussion. And this stemmed from concerns that staff was receiving. There was continued confusion on what does the promenade mean. That is the dark brick red color on the map in front of you. It is for all of the tenant spaces, offices on the first floor of Main Street with an entrance off of Main. And then the brighter orange area is the historic Main. It's also the second or third story of the businesses on Main Street. And so to clarify that that's the promenade is really just that first floor, these proposed amendments were made to clarify what that space really is. Then the meat of the changes occurred in the zoning matrix itself, but there were also a few items that since we were opening up this up for discussion, we wanted to fix since we were in there. The first one is under residential. We split out assisted living facilities from retirement housing because the state actually defines what an assisted living facility is, whereas the city has more leeway with what a retirement housing is. And so we didn't change what zones it was permitted in. We just wanted to separate the uses for consistency with state regulations. The next one is a separation of hotel motel. Again, this does not have to do with state laws, but hotel and motel use are a little bit different in how they function and what they include. Again, we did not change if it was permitted or not permitted. But the meat of the change really is in section 5, which is parks, recreation, entertainment, land uses. And so the matrix that was provided in your packet is specific to the first column is the historic Main, and the second column is the promenade. And you will see we reintroduced the arcade and gaming, art galleries. There is a new use called art studio. The bowling alley center, the bowling alley centers is actually included in the arcade. So that was removed and that was actually added when we were discussing it with Planning Commission, but we caught it as an error before we brought it to you, and we provided information to the Planning Commission last night. We're actually recommending the elimination of movie theaters because theaters is a more generic term, is also included in this category. And then boutique gym, it was also included as a conditional use, and this is 3,500 square feet or smaller. And this is something that the Planning Commission had discussed back in 2019. So continuing on in the table for the land use matrix, there were also some conditions about the maximum size for grocery store, hardware, and then for the theater as well. When I took this to the Economic Advisory Board, they noted that another project we're working on for definitions had these at 30,000 square feet. And so the recommendation was, well, why don't you make it consistent with the definitions? So the table was updated to reflect how we define this particular use. And then finally, the new definitions that are associated with these proposed amendments. Again, art studio is a new category. And this was trying to accommodate the paint your pottery or stained glass where people come in and participate in the activity. It's just not purchasing products. The next one was an amendment to the amusement arcade, which in the land use table is called arcades and gaming establishments. You'll see the source for our proposed definition is the city of Bothell. And when the Planning Commission reviewed this, they were actually looking at 3 different definitions, and this is their preferred definition. And then the last definition change is, again, one of those technical opportunities to fix the definition, and that's the regional transit facility. It's not just limited to rail facilities, but it also can include a park and ride or a transit center. Also included in your packet is a brief history of how the downtown master plan was adopted, how the uses were adopted from 2008 through 2019, and then what happened in 2019. At this point in time, we have a public hearing scheduled for the City Council on August 23rd, and I'd be happy to answer any of your questions.
All right, thank you very much, Kate. Council members, you have any questions? To which Councilmember Scarborough, go ahead.
Hi, I did read this in the package. I have listened and I can't say I understand what we're trying to do here specifically. However, I would ask that a clarification that the Planning Commission has been through this and approves of what you're proposing.
Yes, that is correct. So the goal of this is to reinstitute the entertainment uses that were eliminated during the 2019 adoption of Title 22, which is your Uniform Development Regulations. The Planning Commission actually held 4 workshops and a public hearing. And as I stated a little bit earlier, they completed their work last night and adopted findings of fact and a recommendation for the City Council, which I'll be bringing to you on the 25th.
Okay, thank you.
Excuse me, 23rd.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Kurt. Councilmember Kenny, go ahead.
Thank you, Kate, for that presentation. Just had one question for you. So back in the old days, before it was Let's Play Cafe, Eddie's Trackside Bar was in that facility and they had live music. And I think that was the only entertainment really that was going on in there. Maybe some machines like pinball machines. Under this change, would that be allowed in that space? Like Councilmember Scarborough, I'm trying to understand a little bit more about what changes have been made and what is now.
Sure. So when it was Eddie's Track and Bar, that was actually, and it would be permitted under today's zoning code. The challenge happened is when it became Let's Play Cafe with all of the pinballs and different gaming games that are included in that business, that use is not allowed anymore. And so it becomes a legal non-conforming. And so what Mr. Shoemaker was really hoping to do is just do a small addition to his business. But because it's no longer a permitted use, it's a legal non-conforming, he's not even able to do an addition to the business. And so when he brought this to the Planning Commission, the question was raised, well, what the heck happened? How come this isn't a permitted use? We thought it was a permitted use. And so this entire effort is to put back into the code those entertainment uses that used to be permitted in the historic Main and promenade prior to 2019.
Great. Thank you so much.
All right. Any other questions from council members or any concerns? All right. I don't see any. Thank you very much, Ms. Turtolo. I appreciate the presentation and we look forward to seeing this when it comes back. We're going to move on to the next item, and that one would be item 8.4. This is amendments to the MMC Chapter 1334, illicit discharge detection and elimination, to include the adoption of the NPDES Stormwater Source Control Program with Megan Darrow. So we'll go ahead and bring Megan forward. Megan, you are now in the panel. Go ahead and take yourself off mute and turn on your video. Good evening.
Good evening. Tonight, I am here to request that council accept as first reading ordinance number 023-2022, amending Monroe Municipal Code Chapter 1334, illicit discharge detection and elimination, implementing the National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System Phase 2 Municipal Stormwater General Permit requirements to adopt a stormwater source control program and make other minor code revisions, providing for severability and establishing an effective date. The city's Phase 2 stormwater permit with the State Department of Ecology requires the city adopt an enforceable local source control program. This program is required to go live on January 1st, 2023. The program will provide technical assistance and education to the business community regarding stormwater best management practices and aims to prevent pollution from entering the city's municipal stormwater system and subsequently waters of the state. Being that the source control program is a permit requirement, adoption and implementation are necessary in order to keep Monroe in compliance with its stormwater permit. May I answer any questions?
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Dara. Are there any questions or a motion? Councilmember Kinney, go ahead.
I move to accept as first reading ordinance number 023-2022, amending Monroe Municipal Code, Chapter 13.34, illicit discharge detection and elimination, implementing the National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System Phase 2, municipal stormwater general permit requirements to adopt a stormwater source control program and make other minor code revisions, providing for severability and establishing an effective date.
Second, Scarborough.
I have a motion from Councilmember Kinney, a second from Councilmember Scarborough for the requested action as shown on the screen in new business 8.4. Any discussion on the motion? There being none, we'll move to vote. All in favor? All opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 4-0. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Megan.
Thank you.
We're going to go ahead and move on to the next item on the agenda. That would be Councilmember reports. We'll go ahead and start off with close to me, Councilmember Davis. Any report this evening?
No report this evening.
Thank you. Councilmember Fulcher.
Nope.
Thank you. Councilmember Kinney.
Attended National Night Out with Councilmember Fulcher, and that was very well attended and just a fantastic event. Chief Jolly spoke, Mayor spoke, and it was just very great evening to see everyone come out, and it's just a lot of fun and just a great event. So I thank our police department too for their involvement. It's wonderful.
All right. Thank you very much, Councilmember Kinney. Councilmember Scarborough.
As I've already expressed my regrets to the police chief, I couldn't make it to the National Night Out. I had family from Southern California visit, and it was the only night we could get together for a barbecue with the other kids. So my apologies publicly once again. I'm sorry I missed it, but I understand it was, as Ms. Kinney said, very well attended and very well represented. Thank you for being there.
All right. Thank you very much, Councilmember. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the staff and department reports, and we'll start off with our PD report with Chief Jolly. Go ahead, Chief.
Good evening, Mayor, and good evening in council. Most of this is contained, I believe, within your packet. I would just point out on page 2 under the community outreach statistics, there was one thing that I noted under housing secured year to date. It shows 11, which is a significant amount. It is now 13 if you include July, but I just reflected on that for a minute, thinking about the work that those two individuals do to engage with our homeless people and find them services and shelter. And, you know, even if you're impacting one, that's significant, but I'd not ever reflected on that number that they were able to secure housing for 13 people so far this year. I thought that's pretty cool and pretty special work, and I'm proud of them. And then on the last page, page 3, I would just point out that our mental health clinician is now regularly in-house, generally on Wednesdays, and available 24/7 should any of our people need any kind of assistance to deal with any kind of traumatic events or ongoing issues. We're trying to enhance our wellness program and get into the mental health arena. We all have things that we need to address, and it's a difficult thing, especially for our military or police to address that part of our well-being, but we're very happy to have her. That she was secured through a WASPIC grant that runs through June of next year. So we're very excited that we have that program in-house, and I'm available if you have any questions.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions for Chief? Councilmember Scarborough, go ahead.
Chief, I don't know if I can mention this under my name, but the significant events, June the 17th. Can I mention that business?
That was coastal. That individual was able to get into the building and attempted
Where's Coast?
Coastal Farm and Ranch by Papa Murphy's, the old Albertsons, I believe it
Oh,
was.
okay.
In their Bank of America complex. So they were able to get in and attempted to breach the gun casing. They were unsuccessful. That case will be resolved very shortly.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions for Chief Jolly? Chief, I almost called you Councilmember Jolly, so. All right. Thank you very much, Chief. We're going to go ahead and move on to Parks Department report. Mike Farrell, I'm pretty certain he's on vacation right now. Is that correct?
Yes, but it's Mr. Swanson in the attendees.
Okay, great. Excellent. Thank you. Good afternoon, Ben, or pre-evening.
How are you?
Doing well. You're in the panel.
Excellent. Thank you, Mayor, Council. So for the Parks report, this month was National Parks Month. And so you'll see in the packet, we had a number of positive comments on social media, over 450. We received several comments or feedback on things the community would like to see, probably number one being the pickleball court. And so we are definitely trying to work on that under the 6-year period that was commented. The next thing we had is we had some cleanup in the month of July for some encampments that were discovered. Overall, that went well. Our Parks Board, we actually did a tour of a couple different sites. We went over to the Blueberry Children's Park and took a look at that and explained kind of the process of what Public Works is doing for the stormwater pond, and then Parks following up with a new playground system there. And then the newly named Trombley Park, we took the Park Board up there and showed them the site and some conceptual drawings, which leads us into our grant. We just received word that our final presentation will be August 23rd for the $2.5 million that we're requesting in grant dollars from the state. And so we'll see how it goes after that date. Monroe was obviously a very big event, as it has been for many years. And that went off great. Plenty of help from police, public works, a whole group. So really took a village to put that one on. And then we finally wrapped up Music in the Park, and that went very well. And one last thing I wanted to mention is our Civic Rec software system that will allow people to reserve picnic shelters online, take some of that workload off staff. And that was really the two individuals in our Parks Department, Katie and McKenna, who really stepped up and worked with Civics Plus to get some issues worked out on that and get that thing online and running. That's all I have.
All right. Thank you very much. Any questions for Mr. Swanson? And the answer is yes. Councilmember Kenny, go ahead.
Hi, Ben. Thank you for the update. I just wanted to pass along some feedback regarding our events this summer. I've had several people talk to me about how much they enjoyed Music in the Park, and it's just been wonderfully attended. I think getting more popular every year.
Great.
I was wondering if we have ever collected just kind of ballpark figures on attendance for both the concerts and the outdoor movies. A couple of folks have asked me, gee, would it be possible to maybe have more concerts and fewer movies? And I said, well, I will share that with the Parks Department, Parks and Rec. They love the concerts. They're very well attended. We're kind of known now. Monroe is known as a place where people can come and hear great music and have a good time. And the movies are awesome too. And I know the families really love the movies, and much of the community does. But I'm just wondering if maybe that might be discussed at the next Park Board meeting.
Absolutely. I'll pass it on to Mike Farrell and see if he has some kind of historic figures for attendance there. But that's a great suggestion.
Wonderful. Thank you, Ben.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions for Mr. Swanson? All right. Thank you very much, Ben. Have a great evening.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to go ahead and move on to the next report. That next report would be Economic Development with Rich Hebner. So we'll go ahead and bring Rich into the panel.
And Rich is here. Can you hear me okay, Mr. Mayor?
And
wonderful. Thank you very much, sir. Good evening. Thank you very much. Good evening to you, Mayor. Good evening, council members. Your economic development report for July 2022 is in your packets. Just a couple of highlights for you. The Economic Development Advisory Board met on July 28th. They actually received a presentation from Ms. Turtolo related to the proposed amendments for downtown that she presented to you this evening. The Economic Development Board is in favor of those amendments and asked to pass along their support for the consideration of those proposed amendments. At that meeting, we also discussed, took a look at our economic development budget items that staff has put into consideration for the budget process that is ongoing. And I also informed them of your passage at your last business meeting of resolution number 2022-013, which extended their term for an additional 4 years. And they expressed their appreciation to the council for that vote of confidence. Just for a note for council, we currently have 2 vacancies on the Economic Development Advisory Board that we are recruiting for. Links to information about the board itself, as well as the application for board membership, are included in your packet. And if council members have any recommendations on potential board members, I would certainly invite you to refer those persons to me or refer me to them. And be happy to try to add some great members to our board. In relation to tourism and marketing, there's been some discussion this evening around the success of National Night Out. There were over 60 vendors that were participated and it was a very well attended event. Mr. Swanson a moment ago mentioned the completion of the concerts in the park. Movies Under the Moon, our August events on Friday evening started up last Friday, and the schedule of movies is again included in your packet. The Monroe Chamber of Commerce has initiated a monthly cleanup program in downtown that gathers on the last Saturday of each month to clean and beautify the downtown area. So if you or anyone you know is interested in volunteering for that type of program, we invite you to contact Ms. Drews at the Chamber. Quick update on American Rescue Plan Act funds. As of July 31st, the city has issued reimbursement payments of just under $435,000 to round 1 recipients. Mr. Pyland, our finance manager, and I are currently drafting contracts and scheduling meetings with round 2 awardees, and we anticipate completing the contract process by the end of this month. And then just wanted to share with council that the State Department of Commerce is going to be opening a 5th round of Working Washington grants. Those grant applications will open next Wednesday, the 17th. Deadline for applications is Friday, September 9th. There's $70 million allocated for this program, which will support small businesses impacted by the pandemic. All for-profit and nonprofit businesses, including sole proprietors and independent artists, are encouraged to apply. And there's a link in the packet for more information, as well as some online virtual meetings related to those to provide more information. So if you know any business members in town that would benefit from applying to that grant, the link is in your packet to share with them. And with that, Mr. Mayor, that concludes my report. I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Hebner. Are there any questions for Mr. Hebner? All right, again, we have a couple board openings. If you know of anybody that would be interested in applying, I would encourage you to have them reach out to staff so that they can get applications in. Thank you. We're going to go ahead and move on to the Human Services Report with Deborah Knight. Ms. Knight, Deborah, go ahead.
Thank you. I wanted to highlight just a couple of things for council this evening related to human services, and hopefully there's another slide. Those are my notes. Perfect. So just wanted to bring to council's attention that we did open our cooling centers at the end of July. And I wanted to recognize Rachel Adams, our human service coordinator, for the work that she did working with these various agencies, the library, senior center, YMCA, and St. Vincent de Paul. She was able to put together a flyer, post that information on social media, and then make sure that it also got out regionally to Snohomish County to post as well. So that was very helpful, I think, for people in our community who were not able to access air conditioning kind of within their own homes. The other items I wanted to share with council this evening are a couple of reports from agencies that received funding through the American Rescue Plan Act. We are providing these stories and how agencies have been using money to help community members. And as individual organizations that have received funding are kind of completing their services and their contracts, we've been highlighting those in Monroe this week on social media, and then also posting them to the city's website. We just want to make sure that members of the public know the work that the city council and the mayor have done to get this money out into the community and how it's helping our residents particularly. So I'm just highlighting two organizations, Miracles and Memories Academy, which received just a little over $69,000, and they have used that money to expand services for before and after school care for individuals with developmental disabilities. So that's been very helpful to them in providing that care to individuals and to families. The other organization I wanted to highlight is Evergreen Health Recovery Center. They received $66,000 to provide what we're calling scholarship beds. So they don't take anything but private insurance in order to access these recovery services. And so we've actually been able to have 3 successful referrals. What's great about this particular program is it provides not only recovery for substance abuse disorder, but then also providing wraparound services and finding housing for individuals. So it's not that they're just bringing individuals in and providing them with recovery services, but they're also then helping them change their lives. And so we've had 3 successful referrals and graduations from that program. So we're really grateful for the partnership that we have with Evergreen Health Recovery Center, and looking forward to continuing to support those services. And these are individuals that are from our community. So we're getting referrals from the embedded social workers, for example, and from our not-for-profit partners in Monroe. So a very helpful service, and we'll continue to provide updates to council as we get more stories of how people are being helped with the city's American Rescue Plan Act funding.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Deborah? All right, thank you for the Human Services report. We're going to go ahead and move on to the mayor and administrative reports under section 11. And that'll start with the city administrator extended agenda. Deborah.
Thank you. And I am looking once again to access my notes here. So looking forward to next Tuesday, August 16th, we will be having a Finance and Human Resources Committee meeting, and Ms. Hassert will be presenting 2 items, the next budget cycle revenue assumptions, and then the 6-year utility rate model. At the regular study session at 7 p.m., a couple of items. We have amendments to the Monroe Municipal Code for motorized foot scooters with our Public Works Director, Jacob Roberts, and then a Public Records Act report presentation from our City Clerk, Jody Wyckoff, and from Sherry Simonson, our Public Records Officer. So there's some interesting information in that report, and look forward to sharing that with council. Following up then at the regular business meeting on August 23rd, just a reminder to the city council that we are canceling the P3 committee meeting that evening, but we are doing the Transportation Benefit District 2023 budget. So we'll be sending out just a reminder for council to attend that meeting. And I believe that's scheduled to start at 6 p.m. At 7 p.m. then we have a couple of proclamations, one for Fair Days and one for Labor Day. And then under the consent calendar, we have just our regular accounts payable and ACH, our meeting minutes, our ordinance amending municipal code title 13 for stormwater source control that was presented to you this evening. That'll be second read. And then authorizing the mayor to sign a local agency consultant agreement with KBA for the US2 non-motorized shared path construction management services. That'll be with Kim Klinkers and Scott Peterson. We will have a public hearing on the downtown commercial code amendments that were presented to you this evening by Kate Turtlelow. And then under new business, we'll have lodging tax advisory committee appointments, solid waste advisory committee appointment, and then reports from departments. And that's it for the meeting on Tuesday, August 23rd. Hard to believe we'll be at the end of August by then.
Okay, any questions about the extended agenda? All right, thank you, everybody. We're We're going to move on now to the city administrator report, also with Deborah Knight. Deborah?
Thank you, Mayor. So already provided you with a reminder for the August 23rd Transportation Benefit District meeting starting at 6 p.m. And just a reminder also, I received a notice today that Swift's Night Out is scheduled for Saturday, August 20th from 4 p.m. to dusk. I know for a number of families I know in the community, that's an annual event to see the Swifts come back. I think it really depends upon when their migratory season begins, because I've also seen that posted later in September, but it's planned for August this year. Yeah, I know. Maybe they know something that we don't about the coming winter. I
Maybe
hope not.
Summer savings time, like
I don't
daylight
know.
savings time?
I don't know. And then just a couple of kudos. I wanted to just recognize and thank Kim Klinkers and Scott Peterson in our engineering department. They were able to secure additional grant funding for the US 2 path. I don't know if council was aware, but the action that you took this evening under consent to approve the construction contract, that project came in over budget. And we were doing some work behind the scenes to find the funding to complete that project. Kim Klinkers and Scott Peterson went back to see if we could get more grant funding, and we were approved. And so it just really allowed us to have a significant savings in our real estate excise tax. So I really appreciate the initiative that they took to reach out to the funding agency and ask for more. They can only say no, right? And sometimes they say yes. Yes, that's right. And then also just recognition for Tom Gathman in, again, our engineering department, and Vince Bertrand in stormwater for working together and assisting Eagle Meadows Homeowners Association with a stormwater detention facility. The president of that HOA actually sent a very nice email just thanking both Tom and Vince for the work that they did. And they're just expressing their appreciation for how great it is to work with city staff. So I just wanted to share that with council as well.
All right. Any questions for Deborah for the city administrator report? All right. Thank you very much, Deborah. Just a couple of updates then for me. I have a few, but I'll just try to fly through these quickly. Number one, we're continuing to work on the budget recommendation from the mayor for the 2023 and 2024 budget years. I took a couple of half days off last week to make certain that I could come in and spend some time with staff going over budget enhancement requests and the budget requests themselves. And I just say that there's a lot of great thoughtfulness that has gone into the material. And I look forward to coming to council with the proposed budget at the end of, I guess at the beginning of October, end of September. So staff's doing a great job with that, and I really appreciate the time they're doing with that, the work they're doing with that. The other thing, I did attend National Night Out, and we had a really great turnout again. And I ended up leaving National Night Out early to go to take the next step to be part of a graduation. One of the areas that we have a grant for ARP dollars was to help teach different people in our community how to start businesses. And so the group of people that I had an opportunity to meet, I showed up just in time for 10 people to give presentations on different businesses that they had worked with this company associated, this company that Take the Next Step brought in to teach people how to set up a business, everything from identifying what sort of products they're interested in selling or services they're interested in selling, to getting an idea of what potential customers would want, to how to get a business license, to how to get insurance, and so on and so forth. So I really appreciated having that opportunity to spend an hour or so with them. There were some really great products, some really great food, and I'm really thankful that Take the Next Step brought that in for as an idea to teach people how to do that. So the next thing, so that was graduation. I think it was Friday morning, I was notified by one of our council members that they had heard about tagging at Sky River Education Center or Sky Valley Education Center. I went ahead and contacted the school district, and they got out and took a lap around Sky Valley Education Center. There was a lot of tagging on or graffiti on the doors around the center. Most all of it was written text, and a lot of it had profanity followed by different groups of people in our community. So a lot of it was very negative. It was there was language that I would characterize as racist, and also language that I would characterize as sexist in a highly derogatory way. It was written on the doors. The school district got right on top of cleaning everything up, and I trust the school district has reached out to PD to talk with them about a potential investigation. But it really saddens me to continue to see that sort of thing in our community and certainly across our country. I also received a complaint last week that you'll see in your email. Somebody had contacted us through Comcate about going into a park that appeared to be a public park and being approached in a manner that singled the person out for being somebody with a different lived experience than me, and apparently had a pretty negative interaction with this person that decided to approach her and her child that were there just to use a swing in what appeared to be a public park. So I would encourage you to take a look at those comments that we received. And I included a link to a Herald article where somebody had been approached in a similar way in the Mill Creek area. So I have not heard a response back from the person to the email that I sent to them about the situation. But anyway, just letting you know that those sorts of incidents still are occurring here in Monroe as well as across the region and country. And I continue to find it really heavy in my heart to see people, to see human beings treat other human beings that way, and to have those sorts of messages put anywhere or said anywhere. So let me see. I also was contacted by the Snohomish Tribune on Monday or Friday, asking me for some information about setting up a rehabilitation or a treatment center for people who are trying to get services so that they are no longer dependent upon drugs. Just letting you know, if you have anybody reach out to you from the press about a company called Ideal Options, or applying for a permit to have a clinic that helps people. The the location in question is in the downtown, and they've applied for a conditional use permit. And I would encourage you to, if you're contacted by folks, to have them reach out to Lance. The Community Development Department will be processing a conditional use permit. If it's at that location, the process is that once the application is determined complete, the public is notified about it. Just like with any other conditional use, people have the ability to submit comments and come before a hearing examiner who makes the ultimate decision on whether or not it complies with the code that council's adopted. So if you've got any questions about that, let me know. This company was doing business here in Monroe at one point in time before the pandemic. To my knowledge, we hadn't received any complaints about it. And again, these are people that are going in and getting treatment just like they would to any other clinic to get help. So again, if you've got any questions or concerns about it, please reach out to Lance or have people reach out to Lance. Friday, we had an event that I really appreciated, staff pulling together the three flagpoles that are out here. We had Councilmember Fulcher attend, and people from the VFW attend. Laura was there as well, my wife, and we were able to raise the flags here in front and also honor our Purple Heart recipients. If you go out and take a look, you'll see under the city flag out there a Purple Heart flag. You'll also see a Purple Heart wreath. That was donated by me and Laura. That was not purchased with city funds. And I would encourage you to go out there and take a look at it. And hopefully the roses on that wreath still smell good because they smelled great on Friday. We probably had maybe 1.5 to 2 dozen people there, Heather. Yeah. And it was a short event, but Heather and I put up the city flag. She took care of the top grommet. I took care of the bottom grommet. And we didn't put it up upside down, thanks to the VFW helping us, because they were saying if we're on camera, it's upside down. So we had to flip it. So the city's in trouble. It's upside up right now. So we're not in distress. Okay. Anyway, I think those are the main things. Oh, I do want to let folks know that we do have a couple of openings on the Community Human Services Advisory Board. We will be coming before the council to talk about changing the size of the board from 11 people down to either 9 or 7 people. We've had challenges with pulling together a quorum. Again, with 11 people. Here with council, we just need 4. And when you've got 11 people, a quorum is 6. We've also had issues with some people not quite attending as many meetings as other folks, and some people not letting us know when they're not going to be attending meetings. So I may want to talk with the council, if it's not already in code, about policies around when I determine that a seat is vacant, and we begin the process of finding a replacement. So. With that said, we do have a couple of openings on EDAB. Just to clarify what Rich had shared with you before, we don't take recommendations from council members per se. What we like is if you have somebody that's interested in serving, have them reach out to us and we'll get the link to them, and then we'll take them through the process like that. I don't want to get in the habit of there being affirmative recommendations from folks. Just have them apply and like that. If they qualify, it's on their merits. And so on. So, and I think that's all I have to report. Does anybody have any questions, comments, good jokes for me? We have no need for an executive session. I think that's all that we have this evening.
That is.
So unless there's objection, we are adjourned. There's no objection, we're adjourned. Have a great rest of your week, everybody. Thank you, everybody.